I've spent so many years peering through time, looking for you.
All right, guys. So thank you for joining us for the non-spoiler section. Now you are only permitted to continue if you have seen the film. So if you haven't yet, go watch it immediately. Come back, join us for this half in our installment where we talk spoilers. So here is your spoiler warning.
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything does. Not everything has to.
So the one problem I did have when he goes and talks to the guy that had the back surgery and can walk again, he comes up to him all desperate for help, and he asks him, and he tells him, and there's no in between that and him in Nepal. So it just leads you to believe that he just straight up believed that guy and dropped everything to go. It's implied that he probably did like some sort of like research or tried to find everything, but he literally like spent his last dollar on a whim.
And I want to get back on that because that's a good point, and I want to touch on it. But I thought this movie did a great job of following the origin story as I know it to be.
But it seemed so naturally coming. The way they updated the story, how the origin happened, like he was distracted driving, and that's
right.
how he crashed. And
it was drinking in the comics.
When he's like exhausting all possibilities, like using the internet experimental research, trying to like find all that stuff, he knows the field, what's new, what might work, and then no one will help him.
And he got 7 surgeries.
Yeah.
And they showed, they like once again, like Batman Begins style, they show the beard to show the
desperation.
Well, the desperation and the passage of time. And I didn't really think about it for some stupid reason, but watching the trailers, I was like, well, he seems like somebody that's very, in on his looks and self-centered. I'm surprised he let his beard grow like that. But it made sense in the movie because he can't shave. He's got the severe nerve damage, and yeah. So that I thought that was well done. And now I think we get to the point where he's had all these surgeries. He has no money left. He doesn't know what to do, but he finds out about
that gentleman that had severe nerve damage throughout his entire body. They said he would never walk again, and a doctor saw him walking months later, so he's trying to figure out what happened.
It didn't need a scene, just maybe like some form of hint that like, because maybe I overlooked it, but something that would say like that made him like look more into it or something. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense, and
I
I understand that.
could have been on the phone with someone or like something for 5 seconds. All it would take was 5 seconds.
Right, and they adding this character with the nerve damage and stuff so that they could circle back to it. That was a departure from the original source material, but I liked how they put that in there. I think the reason that he went to Nepal is, like we said multiple times, he's had so many surgeries, and this is how it was also in the animated movie and everything, is he just can't risk anymore. Like he has to take every possible opportunity that he can, and so you see that he thinks the guy is kind of nuts. Mm-hmm. But what else is he gonna do? He's gone to every surgeon, like experimental surgeon that he can possibly think of, and at this point it's just all he has is time. So he might not understand or care what he's physically saying to him, but he has the proof that something happened to that man to make him walk again. The same can be done by hands. Whatever jibber jabber they're saying, I will do anything to fix my hands. Okay, so moving on from there, then he goes to something Taj. All right, well, all the doctors right now. I apologize for not remembering how to pronounce that. But anyways, and he meets the Ancient One, who is Tilda Swinton. My knowledge of the Ancient One is that it's kind of like an otherworldly being that
And
is...
she has played those
Yes,
previously
constantly.
pretty well.
Gabriel and Constantine. So she played a straight up man.
She did a great job in Constantine too.
Yes, and she was the White Witch in Narnia, and no matter what she does, she has this ethereal presence about her. They've made jokes about it on SNL. They had a Celebrity Jeopardy, and they had Kate McKinnon playing Tilda Swinton, and it's like, what's a habit you just can't quit? And she's like, drinking the blood of the innocent. It was really fun, but she does a great job as the Ancient One, and at really no point in the movie did I ever feel that them switching genders on had any impact on the story or character or whichever. Because I just think Tilda Swinton's an actress that is above.
I think
everything.
that they were very careful with this casting, and that it turned out who fell short, really, in this movie at all.
So we talked about Tilda Swinton, and of course she has a stunt double in this movie. She's got to have a stunt
They've
double
all
in this
got
movie.
stunt doubles.
But the way that they portrayed the Ancient One as not a delicate old man like doing floating meditation, badass. She was a badass, and it was awesome to see. And there's a reason her character is so well respected and teaching this school of new coming sorcerers and stuff. And we are also introduced to, they don't call him Baron, they just call him Mordo in the film, but his name's Baron Mordo from the comics. And if you're familiar with the comics or you know Green Lantern, Baron Mordo has always been kind of the Sinestro to Doctor Strange, meaning that he started out as a ally, like Sinestro used to be part of the Green Lantern Corps, and then he left the Green Lantern. But I thought, and I had to listen to many podcasts so that I could get this name right. For this precise moment, Chiwetel Ejiofor as Baron Mordo. He's known from Serenity. He was in The Martian. He's a very talented
awesome
actor.
in Serenity.
And I think he did a really great job to the point where it's really easy to, when you know somebody is destined to be a rival or an enemy, to make them a really one-note character. But Chiwetel brought a real depth to the character, made him, is understanding, and you could see the frustrations that he had in throughout the movie. The Ancient One says, we need new help and stuff, and he feels like he's constantly getting overlooked. Like, hey, I'm here, I'm talented, I'm a sorcerer, and he feels very betrayed at a certain part of the movie, and you understand that, you feel for him, and any transition that's going to happen from that point on is very understandable.
The only hint of like his Sinestroism incoming is when Doctor Strange and the Ancient One are in the astral plane, and he's talking to her for the last time, and he says, like, what about Mordo? And she goes, he's broken or whatever from his youth or whatever, and he needs you. So then you're like, oh, okay. So she is even saying that he's fucked up.
Right, and then earlier he talks to the Ancient One and said, you helped me rid myself of my demons. And she's like, we don't get rid of our demons, we just rise above them. Right. So we know that there's a darkness in Mordo. And those are the things that I feel like I picked up on, or maybe you picked up on, because I knew where his character was going. And I feel like they're a lot more subtle if you're not looking for them. Other than Baron Mordo, we're introduced to the character Wong, who is, it's funny, he's got the perfect name. His name is Benedict Wong. So he's got the same name as Benedict Cumberbatch, and his last name's Wong. He was clearly destined to be in this film.
Yeah.
It was a really welcome transition from the source material. This is one of those things where good job changing it, because Wong in the comics, being that they were 70s and people weren't as racially sensitive and things.
He's like an indentured servant.
Yeah, he's just a manservant for Doctor Strange. Like, yes, they're friends, but he, carries all his packing, does all the heavy lifting and stuff like that. And this one, like, no, he's a badass librarian. He's got a lot of really dry humor and wit, and I love some of the moments they had with him.
I wanted to be up here with you.
Thanks. We talked about Rachel McAdams already, so I really want to wrap up the talking of the cast with Mads Mikkelsen, known from the show Hannibal, and also from, Casino Royale. I forget which 007 it was. And he will also be playing Kalen Erso in Star Wars Rogue One, Jyn Erso's father. Yeah. You would agree?
Huh?
Marvel has a track record for shit in the bed when it comes to their villains, for the most
Oh,
part.
you mean killing them?
Well, no, I just not doing an overall good job of having memorable villains. Do we ever think about Malekith the Dark Elf? No.
I do. I think he was one of the better ones.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, compared to Ultron, yeah.
See, but then you're proving a point more. Ultron.
Well, no,
got
I agree with you for the most part,
Yeah.
but like I liked Malekith.
Well, if you like Malekith, that's cool. I think
I liked Christopher Eccleston. I knew because it was Christopher Eccleston that he wasn't going to come back for another film.
The reason I bring this up is I'm gonna remember Caecilius, however you say his name. I liked him quite a bit, and Mads Mikkelsen's performance was both clever, witty, funny, threatening,
And you didn't get too
intimidating.
much of him or too little.
Right.
Like the movie's really short, so keep that in mind.
I would have liked to see more of him, but they put him.
The way that the story works is that it doesn't drag out. So once Doctor Strange encounters him, then it goes like, and it's not a long time really.
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh yeah, by the Eye of Agamotto, which is an Infinity Stone. We know. I predicted it. You saw it here first. The Eye of Agamotto in Doctor Strange is the Time Stone, which is the 5th out of the 6 Infinity Stones. We're waiting for one more before Infinity War. We have Black Panther, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and Thor Ragnarok.
And are we getting another one in Thor, or we don't know?
We don't know where this Infinity Stone's showing
Thor
up.
or Guardians?
Most likely. No.
It would make sense if one's kind of in Wakanda.
What?
Wakanda.
Wakanda.
Waka Flocka.
Waka Flocka Flame. The problem is you have 2 Infinity Stones on Earth already, with Vision having the Mind Stone.
That's my problem too.
Yeah, so it'll be good to. And Thor's supposed to go to all these different places, and James Gunn said,
Planet Hulk.
"Yay, Planet Hulk!" Sorry to go on an Infinity Stone tangent here, but Mads Mikkelsen wasn't the only villain. We actually got a tasteful amount of Dormammu. They talked about him the entire movie, and all I thought, well, when the first trailers came out, everyone was wondering, is Mads Mikkelsen playing Dormammu? When I saw multiple characters with the burned purple eyes, I was like, nope, that's the presence of Dormammu possessing people. And I was like, are they just going to lead up to Dormammu, or will we actually see him? And we kind of saw him.
Strange.
The way... Okay, guys. Obviously, you've seen the movie. Can we talk about the way that Doctor Strange battles Dormammu and how brilliant of a Groundhog's Day offense
And
that
selfless,
it was?
too.
And selfless. Like, we've seen time loops and things like that happen before in movies, but the way it was done, I thought, was so brilliantly handled and clever. And yeah, Dormammu was a giant talking face, but he's in his dark dimension, which he is the overlord, ruler of, which made sense. Thank you for not making him a fart cloud, Marvel. You have learned from Fantastic
He was only
Four.
halfway a fart cloud. He was
Yeah.
a fart cloud with a head.
He was a
with
fart
face.
cloud with a face. So, oh god, it's Green Lantern. No, it was nothing like Parallax.
But what was interesting about it is in most time loops, either no party remembers anything that they're stuck in a time loop, or one party consciously remembers but can't do anything to alter it, so is doomed to repeat the thing, or one party remembers and is the only party that can make alterations. In this one, both Dormammu and Doctor Strange are fully aware of everything that's happening,
Right.
and
It was so great because I like all the different things that he could do with the Infinity Stone. Like, he started reversing time. And the fight scenes in this movie were so cool. I elbowed Tyler like 4 times on the movie. I'm like, dope.
I don't
This is
elbow
dope.
people in the movies, and I elbowed him.
Yeah, I was like, this
yeah.
is so sick. Because they have one where you have the world-bending, reality-altering fight scene going throughout the city. But then I thought that was going to be kind of the climax, like the coolest part of the film. Not to me. To me, and they had, well, I guess the fight in the Sanctum spilled out into the streets. But it was the fight at the end where he starts rewinding time. And everything's going backwards around them, and they're maintaining a fight. And the characters start going backwards, and when he's like Mordo or Wong or whatever going backwards, he cast like an additional spell on them to bring him onto his relativity.
It was Wong.
Yeah.
Yeah. He brought him back to life, and then he brought him into their relativity. Yeah.
I feel like this movie is so crazy and bizarre. I am so surprised that they made it. I feel like some people that just go to throw popcorn at their face and not really paying attention are going to be like,
well, because what is the magic in what they're doing? A lot of what they're doing is just manipulating other dimensions. An infinite amount of possibilities is what they're manipulating at one time. That's what the whole inception of everything is. When all that stuff, the matter is transforming and moving, they use the mirror dimension as a ways to protect the current dimension that they're in, but they use forces from another dimension to move things around. That's how they like do all their things, and it's really cool how they are able to like cement their form of reality into like all this infinity.
If you would have had this conversation with me yesterday, I would not understand what the hell you're talking about. But like, I get it. Somehow this movie made me like understand that, so I could have some weird conversation about relativity and space-time continuum and things like that. This movie just did a great job balancing all of those things. The Time Stone is one Infinity Stone. What's going to happen when Thanos has 6 of them?
So the fact that the Time Stone is on Earth in this dimension doesn't mean that it always was.
Just because we're talking about Infinity Stones, I'm going to really quick help you guys out here. In case you don't really know where they are, I'm going to take 30 seconds. So, Mind Stone, Vision's forehead. Time Stone, Doctor Strange's amulet, the Eye of Agamotto. I believe the Reality Stone is the red ether from Thor the Dark World, and that was in the Collector's Collection. We don't know if it's still there because they kind of blew his house down. What have we done here? The Tesseract. The Tesseract's on Asgard, and that's the Space Gem. So we got 5? 5. So we need one more.
This is the most interesting way to say 5. Mostly people that have all their fingers don't count like this.
we only have one more gem, and that is the Soul Gem.
4.
The Soul Gem. Now, this is something that was brought to my attention that I never really thought of. In Thor Ragnarok, we are being introduced to Hela. She's the guardian of the underworld, basically the Hel, Hel dimension. It's one of the Midgard, Asgard, Niflheim, and all that other cool stuff. Guardian of the underworld. Do you think maybe she has something that can affect people's souls? Like a soul stone? I don't know. I think that is a good guess, and probably where we will end up seeing the final Infinity Stone. Before Infinity War, which Doctor Strange and Wong are both confirmed to be in. We're almost in final thoughts. So we talked about kind of throughout the movie, all the pros and cons and things like that. Make sure to stay. Don't be one of those idiots. There are 2 after credit scenes like we've had for the last 8 movies. It's not new. Anyway, so I want to talk about the after credit scene. The first one, when it fades to black, whose voice do we hear right away?
Thor.
Yeah, we get to hear Chris Hemsworth. When I hear Chris Hemsworth's voice,
I do not spoil things for myself, by the way. What did I do when I walked into Suicide Squad? You were coming out, and I'm like,
no! Yeah, that's right.
Anything. Don't even tell me what your opinion is. Don't tell me anything. I ran into a coworker of ours, which I didn't work there anymore, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And he goes, "Oh, hey, it's Tyler." And I go, "No, no, don't tell me anything." He goes, "I wasn't gonna."
Basically, what happens is they're leading into Ragnarok, which I think is a good. That's not the next movie. The next movie is Guardians.
Spider-Man.
Guardians.
Oh, Guardians. That's right. This comes in summer, and then
I don't know if Thor or Spider-Man comes. Spider-Man comes out first. Thor is 2 movies away, or 3.
I want these movies now.
So much Marvel content.
I really wish that it was like the end of the world.
I can't believe the embarrassment of riches that we have received as fans and fans of Marvel and comics in general.
Yeah, what are you doing, DC? You're just fucking up everything you touch.
So talking about the end credit scene a little bit more is Mr. Strange basically says, "So Thor, I have to keep track of anyone that might possibly pose a threat to Earth and reality or anything like that." He's like, "And your brother's one of them, and you've brought him to Earth." Clearly, Thor now knows he's alive and is with him.
Right.
And he's like, well, we're looking for our father Odin. He's like, well, if you find him, you will promptly leave. He's basically saying, get the F off my Earth, you know?
Right.
And they're, yeah, sure. He's like, okay, well, then I'll help you then. So we get some Doctor Strange love in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's gonna be.
It's probably like a scene. I bet you it's like one scene. And there was a second, again, stay after, a second end credit scene. So the last end credit scene is basically boring Mordo tracking down one of the people that the guy that had severe nerve damage. And are you over your trauma? It looks like you're having a really traumatic experience over there. I know, we're all sad about it. It's going to be okay. Good things. We got to wrap up this Doctor Strange review so we can get into our podcast. So, yeah. So, just wrapping up, guys. Thank you for joining us on our Doctor Strange review. I really want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. What would you rate the movie? What did you think about the movie? What were some of the highlights for you? Please don't spoil it for anybody else. You know, if you want to talk spoilers, just send one of us direct messages. We'd love to talk about the movie with you. Make sure to follow us on all the various social medias. And may the strange be with you. See you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and keep an eye and an ear out for exciting new content. Be sure to follow us on all the social media sites. Twitter is @TheFansplash. YouTube, just search Fansplash. We've got an open Facebook network, Fansplash Network. Instagram is fan_splash_podcast. SoundCloud.com/fansplash. You can email us, thefansplash@gmail.com, and Reddit @r/fansplash. Title and end credit songs written by Jacob Hall. See you next time!
May the film be with you. Always.